ऐगिरि नन्दिनि नन्दित मेदिनि विश्वविनोदिनि नन्दिनुते गिरिवरविन्द्य शिरोदिनि वासिनि विष्णुविलासिनि जिष्णुनुते भगवति हेशिति कण्ठकुटुम्बिनि भूरि कुटुम्बिनि भूरि कृते जय जय हे महिषासुरमर्दिनि रम्यकपर्दिनि शैलसुते रम्यकपर्दिनि शैलसुते रम्यकपर्दिनि शैलसुते।
जय जय हे Mahishasuramardhini Ramyakapartini Shailasute. This is an ode to the Mother Goddess that most of us in India learn when we are children. I learned it when I was 4, at my mother's knee. That year, she introduced me to dance, and thus began my tryst with classical dance. Since then, it's been 4 decades now. I've trained with the best in the field, performed across the globe, taught young and old alike, created, collaborated, choreographed, and wove a rich tapestry of artistry, achievement, and awards. The crowning glory was in 2007 when I received this country's 4th highest civilian award, the Padma Shri, for my contribution to art. But nothing prepared me for what I was to hear on the 1st of July, 2008. I heard the word carcinoma. Yes, breast cancer. As I sat numbstruck in my doctor's office, I heard other words: cancer, stage, grade. Until then, cancer was the zodiac sign of my friend. Stage was what I performed on, and grades were what I got in school. That day, I realized I had an unwelcome, uninvited, new life partner. As a dancer, I know the 9 rasas or the Navarasas: anger, valor, disgust, humor, and fear. I thought I knew what fear was. That day, I learned what fear was. Overcome with the enormity of it all and the complete feeling of loss of control, I shed copious tears and asked my dear husband, Jayant. I said, is this it? Is this the end of the road? Is this the end of my dance? And he, the positive soul that he is, said, no, this is just a hiatus during the treatment, and you'll get back to doing what you do best. I realized then that I, who thought I had complete control of my life, had control of only 3 things: my thought, my mind, the images that these thoughts created, and the action that derived from it. So here I was, wallowing in a vortex of emotions and depression and what have you, with the enormity of the situation, wanting to go to a place of healing, health, and happiness. I wanted to go from where I was to where I wanted to be, for which I needed something. I needed something that will pull me out of all this. So I dried my tears and I declared to the world at large. I said, cancer is only 1 page in my life, and I will not allow this page to impact the rest of my life. I also declared to the world at large that I would ride it out, and I would not allow cancer to ride me. But to go from where I was to where I wanted to be, I needed something. I needed an anchor, an image, a peg to peg this process on so that I could go from there. And I found that in my dance. My dance, my strength, my energy, my passion, my very life breath. But it wasn't easy. Believe me, it definitely wasn't easy. How do you keep cheer when you go from beautiful to bald in 3 days? How do you not despair when, with a body ravaged by chemotherapy, climbing a mere flight of stairs was sheer torture, that too to someone like me who could dance for 3 hours? How do you not get overwhelmed by the despair and the misery of it all? All I wanted to do was curl up and weep. But I kept telling myself, fear and tears are options I did not have. So I would drag myself into my dance studio, body, mind, and spirit, every day into my dance studio, and learn everything I learned when I was 4, all over again, reworked, relearned, regrouped. It was excruciatingly painful, but I did it. Difficult. I focused on my mudras, on the imagery of my dance, on the poetry and the metaphor and the philosophy of the dance itself. And slowly I moved out of that miserable state of mind. But I needed something else. I needed something to go that extra mile. And I found it in that metaphor, which I had learned from my mother when I was 4. The metaphor of Mahishasura Mardini, of Durga. Durga, the mother goddess, the fearless one, created by the pantheon of Hindu gods. Durga, resplendent, bedecked, beautiful, her 18 arms ready for warfare, as she rode astride her lion into the battlefield to destroy Mahisha. Durga, the epitome of creative feminine energy or Shakti. Durga, the fearless one. I made that image of Durga and her every attribute, her every nuance, my very own. Powered by the symbology of a myth and the passion of my training, I brought laser-sharp focus into my dance. Laser-sharp focus to such an extent that I danced a few weeks after surgery. I danced through chemo and radiation cycles, much to the dismay of my oncologist. I danced between chemo and radiation cycles and badgered him to fit it to my performing dance schedule. What I had done is I had tuned out of cancer and tuned into my dance. Yes, cancer has just been one page in my life. My story is a story of overcoming setbacks, obstacles, and challenges that life throws at you. My story is the power of thought. My story is the power of choice. It's the power of focus. It's the power of bringing ourselves to the attention of something that so animates you, so moves you, that something even like cancer becomes insignificant. My story is the power of a metaphor. It's the power of an image. Mine was that of Durga. Durga, the fearless one. She was also called Simhanandini, the one who rode the lion. As I ride out, as I ride my own inner strength, my own inner resilience, armed as I am with what medication can provide and continued treatment, as I ride out into the battlefield of cancer, asking my rogue cells to behave, I want to be known as not a cancer survivor, but as a cancer conqueror. I present to you an excerpt of that work, Simhanandini.
सन्नद्धं विविधायुधैः परिवृतं प्रान्ते कुमारी गणैः ध्याये दीप्सितदायिनीं त्रिनयनं त्रिंहाधिरूढां सितां शङ्कारीषु धनुंषि चारुदधतिं चित्रायुध ऐगिरिनन्दिनि नन्दितमेदिनि विश्वविनोदिनि नन्दिनुते गिरिवरविन्द्यशिरोदिनि वासिनि विष्णुविलासिनि जिष्णुनुते भगवति हेसिति कण्ठकुटुम्बिनि भूरि कुटुम्बिनि भूरि कृते जय जय हे महिषासुरमर्दिनि रम्यकपर्दिनि शैलसुते जय जय हे महिषासुरमर्दिनि रम्यकपर्दिनि शैलसुते जय जय हे महिषासुरमर्दिनि रम्यकपर्दिनि शैलसुते रम्यकपर्दिनि शैलसुते रम्यकपर्दिनि शैलसुते या देवी सर्वभूतेषु विष्णुमायेति संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः या देवी सर्वभूतेषु शक्तिरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः या देवी सर्वभूतेषु शान्तिरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः
On Saturday, November 5th, a male walked into a Midtown pizzeria.
He ordered one slice of pepperoni pizza, sat down in the back of the pizzeria, and remained there until closing. At this time, the owner approached him and asked him to leave. The gentleman produced a silver handgun, took the owner at gunpoint around the counter, and removed a large sum of money from the cash register.
On the way out of the location, the manager noticed that he had a tattoo on his neck, had the word sugar written in it. Our old systems only gave us the capability to do certain queries, very limited search capabilities.
It was in multiple forms, paper, separate databases, separate processes.
The question was, how do we gather that information and get it to our officers on patrol? The answer to that is the Real-Time Crime Center.
The RTCC provides information and investigative support to detectives who are investigating violent crime, and the information is delivered right to them at the crime scene.
The detectives reached out to us with the nickname of Sugar.
And we were able to bring back a man with a violent robbery history. We pulled up his photo and his physical attributes, and he matched the description to a T.
Myself and a team of detectives from the Midtown North Squad went to a housing project. A group of us walked through the front door, up a flight of stairs, until we came to apartment 2B. We knocked on the door, and inside was our perpetrator.
If it wasn't for the technology that's available here, we wouldn't have been able to solve this case.
The Police Foundation has contributed significant amounts of money for components of the Real-Time Crime Center.
Our hope is that every police officer has in his or her hand the kind of information that they need.
We can marry all of these aspects, technology, software, services, to help the city of New York fight crime.
What can help us in the short term and the long term? The obvious answer is technology, and we're going to do everything we can to make certain that New York remains in the lead in that regard.